Hi friends, so today we are going to see the default method in Java. So this is a new feature which is introduced in Java 8, the default method. Okay, default method is introduced in the interface in Java. Okay, now we can also write the default method plus of the abstract methods. Suppose this is our interface. Okay, previously in interface we can only write the abstract method. What is abstract method? Which doesn't have any body. Suppose public void get data. If you write this and this, so this is an abstract method. If you see there is nobody, we just close this method here, and whichever the class is implementing that interface can only provide the implementation to that method. This is what we called an abstract method. Okay, now what is happened with the help of default method? So now the default method is also introduced in Java 8 as a new feature. So now you can provide a default implementation of a method in Java. Okay, so and how you can write this is, suppose default void get Ayush or get A. So this is how you can write the implementation. Whatever the statement you want to execute, you have to write there. Okay, now what is the use of default method? So suppose I have one interface. I have created one interface A. Okay, that interface is implemented by three different classes. Okay, this class and this class. Currently this interface has two things. One is an abstract method. Okay, one is a default method. So if you implements in any class to the interface, then it is mandatory to override all the abstract method in the interface. But if you have an default method, it is not mandatory. मेरा कहने का मतलब ये है, अगर आपने एब्स्ट्रैक्ट मेथड लिखा हुआ है इंटरफेस के अंदर, तो जितने भी इम्प्लीमेंटेशन क्लास है, मतलब बी क्लास है इम्प्लीमेंटेशन, सी क्लास है इम्प्लीमेंटेशन और डी क्लास है इम्प्लीमेंटेशन. ओके, जितनी भी इम्प्लीमेंटेशन क्लास हैं उन सब क्लास में आपको एब्स्ट्रैक्ट मेथड तो लिखना ही होगा. ठीक है, वो ओवर करना होगा. बट इट इज़ नॉट मैंडेटरी टू यूज़ द डिफॉल्ट मेथड बिकॉज वी ऑलरेडी इम्प्लीमेंटेड द डिफॉल्ट इंटरफेस. ओके, जब हम लोग एग्जाम्पल देखेंगे तो हम लोग इसको और देखेंगे. नाउ लेट्स सी व्हाट द इम्प्लीमेंटेशन, व्हाट वी आर गोइंग टू डू विद द इम्प्लीमेंटेशन. आई विल गो टू द इंटेलिजे एंड देन इम्प्लीमेंट दिस. व्हाट आई विल डू, सबसे पहले मैं एक बैंक नाम का इंटरफेस क्रिएट करूंगा जिसमें दो क्लासेस इंप्लीमेंट करूंगा, SBI और एक्सिस, जो कि इस बैंक वाले इंटरफेस को इंप्लीमेंट कर रही होगी, मीन्स इंप्लीमेंटेशन प्रोवाइड कर रही होंगी इसके मेथड को. उसके बाद मैं एक मेन मेथड बनाऊंगा किसी एक क्लास में और उसमें से डिफ़ॉल्ट मेथड कॉल करने की कोशिश करूंगा. ठीक है, तो देन यू विल सी व्हाट इज़ द यूज़र डिफ़ॉल्ट मेथड. और एक मैं दिखाऊंगा अगर मैं डिफ़ॉल्ट मेथड यूज़ नहीं करता हूं तो व्हाट इज़ द इशू. ओके, सो लेट्स डू कोडिंग. ओके, so let's go. Let me create an interface again, starting from starting. Okay, from starting I am going to create an interface. So this is my Java 8 project. I am going to create one interface. Okay, let me click on this, an interface. I have written the bank. Now my bank interface, suppose this, here I will create one static method, public void get rate. Okay, there is one abstract method. This is an abstract method. If you see here, we are not providing the implementation because it is an abstract body. Whichever class is implementing this interface can only provide the implementation. Now I am creating a default method, default void get banks of banks. So I will print only the RBI here. If anyone call this method, then he will only see the RBI. It is printing get banks of banks. Okay, banks I have written, or simply I just print here. So here if you see in this method we have not provided any implementation, but here we are providing any implementation to this method. Okay, sys out. Suppose I am writing here RBI. Okay, only this field. Now this is the abstract interface. Now what I said next thing, that we are going to create two classes, SBI and then Axis. SBI and Axis both are going to implement this bank class. So for first of all, class, you have to write class. How to create a class? Class SBI which implements the bank. So when you implement the bank na, so now if you see there is a compilation issue. What issue is that if any class is implementing any interface, if there is an abstract method, then it says that you have to override that abstract method. Simply I will do by using the IntelliJ shortcut. So if you see na, if you see, I am going to implement this method, that SOUT, the SBI bank rate is, plus I will print this 10.0 percentage. Okay, so if you see, it is not saying that you have to also override this bank of bank, but I am not going to override. Okay, suppose now I am going to create another class which implement this bank. So I am going to create Axis bank which implements this bank interface. Now here also if you see, now here also it will say that Axis, this is in class which is implementing this bank. So whatever the bank have an abstract method, that we need to implement here, means override here. So I am going to get both the methods. Okay, this is an optional, but I have only provided this. Okay, and suppose if I write SOUT sys out of banks. Okay, and suppose if I write that Axis and RBI. Okay, I have given these two things. Now अब उसके बाद देखो, अब हम एक मेन मेथड बनाएंगे जिससे हम दोनों को कॉल करके देखेंगे. सपोज हमने एक क्लास बना दिया, सपोज आई हैव क्रिएटेड अ पब्लिक क्लास. ओके, क्लास बना लो एग्जाम्पल. ओके, क्लास बनाया विच हैव वन मेन मेथड. ओके, which have one main method. This class have one main method. Okay, which has a one main method. Okay, now what you need to do, this class has a one main method. Suppose I am going to create an object of an Axis bank. Axis s is equals to new Axis. Okay, now I have created an object of an Axis bank. If I created an object, then whatever the method is there inside an Axis, I can implement. Suppose if I called Axis dot get bank of banks. Okay, if I write this na, gets bank of bank. So if I print this, if I print, then it will print the Axis RBI only, rather than whatever we have this. Let me show you. Just a minute. It's just printing, and if you see Axis RBI. But suppose if I created the object of, SBI is equals to new SBI. If I created an object, so whatever the method is there, whatever the thing is there inside an SBI class, we can simply print this. If I write banks of bank. Okay, banks of bank, and if I print this, so what it will show? It will show RBI. Okay, so that means this is in my SBI class. Okay, this is my SBI class. If you see, I don't override the method get banks of bank, which is by default. So first of all, default methods we do not need to, it is not compulsory to override, as unlike of an abstract method. Okay, so now I will show you what is the issue if this is not a default method. Suppose I am going to create this interface. In interface, I will replace this method by an abstract method. So gets bank of bank. Okay, if you see, I am going to remove this method from here. Okay, so if you see, both the implementation classes of the interface are showing error. What is showing? They are saying that this interface has two abstract method, but we are using only one. We are only implementing one abstract methods. It is compulsory to implement all the abstract methods. Okay friends, if you have any confusion, just let me know, then we will further do on this.